Hello and welcome to the Nope Coach podcast. This is episode 390. I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg. I'm just taking a moment to pause on that 390 episodes. That's incredible. Thank you, those of you who have been with me since the get-go. Thank you, those who have joined me along the way. What a journey it has been. Before we jump into today's topic, a couple of housekeeping type things. Firstly, if you are catching this in August or September of 2024, I would love it if you could vote for me in the Women in Podcasting Awards. I'll put a link either in the show notes or the YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. It is a podcasting awards that I've been shortlisted for, and I would really, really appreciate your vote. The Nope Coach is the name of this show. I'm in the coaching category. When you click on the link, it's kind of overwhelming. There are a lot of different categories. You do not need to vote in all of them. If you listen to different shows and you have a bit of a scroll around, I was pleasantly surprised to see so many familiar shows. But if you're just like, nope, I want to be in and out, then just go to the coaching category, choose the Nope Coach. I would very much appreciate it. Secondly, it will sign you up for the Women in Podcasting newsletter. The reason it does that is to stop cheating. So it's one vote per email address to make it as fair as possible. Like, we can never make anything fully fair. However, you can unsubscribe at any time. So your vote will still be counted, and I will announce here on the show how I go when the winners are announced. So feel free to unsubscribe immediately if you want to keep to inbox zero. Speaking of, I'm ashamed. I'm going to have a look now. 1st of January last year, so 2023, I did this whole celebration because I got to inbox zero. That's a big thing for me. And I did not maintain it. I'm just opening my email as I'm recording this. 10,254 unread emails. So if you have email shame, I get you. If you don't want to be subscribed to yet another thing, please, once you've cast your vote, feel free to unsubscribe. I will keep you posted here. Second housekeeping type announcement type thing I wanted to share today. On my YouTube channel, so for those of you who are listening on audio, all of these episodes also go across on my YouTube, but my YouTube has a few things that don't come across on the podcast. The first of which is recorded coaching sessions. So basically, I'm very fortunate to have an unusual name. So if you go Suzanne Kohlberg YouTube, or even I believe the Nope Coach YouTube, if you search that on Google, you will find my channel. If you go across to the tab that says playlists, all of these episodes, if you're new to this show and you're like, there's 390 episodes here, that's a lot. I have categorized them into things like boundaries, people pleasing, business growth, all these sorts of things. One of the categories, which isn't available for those of you who are just listening, is recorded coaching sessions. Now, there is about 8, don't quote me on that, at the time of recording this, maybe not quite 8, I'm not sure, sessions available for you to listen through. The other thing is, if you want to have a recorded coaching session, I'll pop the application in this show notes for this episode, but you can apply. Now, those recorded coaching sessions are free in exchange for them being recorded and put up on my YouTube. So it's a win-win. You get coached for free, and then I have content. If you're like, actually, I'm interested in coaching, but there's no way I want my face on YouTube, if you go over to my website, suzannekohlberg.com, there's options of my paid coaching there. You can either discuss working with me ongoing as a package or just booking a one-off session. One-off sessions isn't something I used to do. So for those of you who are very familiar with my work, you're like, what is she doing? She used to only work for people for 6 months. But sometimes we don't want to commit to a whole coaching package. We just have one thing. More and more often lately, people have been messaging me and going, can I just have a session about this? I have a difficult conversation. I want to ask for a raise at work. I'm having a challenge with my partner. I just want to go over some journaling prompts, so on and so forth. So now I have opened up one-off single sessions. They're available on my website. So that's all of the housekeeping for today. What I wanted to talk about today is timeline. It's August in 2024 at the time of recording this. I don't know how we made the 8th month of the year already, but 2024 to me is going past in the blink of an eye. And sometimes when we are planning to make changes, like I work nominally in the field of transformation. Transformation, healing, learning, growth, it kind of happens on its own timeline. Now, I'm not saying don't have a plan, but sometimes we are really, really rigid with, if I do this, then this will happen. It takes me back to the weight loss days. If I eat this many calories and I burn that many calories by exercise, then I should be able to lose a kilo a week or a pound a week or whatever system that you're measuring. And then when those results don't keep up to par, we think there's something fundamentally wrong with us. I'm not trying hard enough. And then we can end up in a self-sabotage sinkhole. The same with growing a business. If I post this many episodes of my podcast, or if I write this many social media posts, then I should gain this many new subscribers per week. And when I have this many subscribers and I put an offer out, the statistics say I should get this many sales. And that can be quite disheartening. I too have fallen prey to this in many ways, shape, or form. Like, my goal for 2024 was to monetize my YouTube channel. We're in August and I'm still a far cry short from reaching that. I'm not saying it's impossible, not saying that it won't happen. But sometimes if we hang everything, like we hang our hat on, our achievement or our worth as a person is dependent on us achieving this level of growth, then we could end up disappointed or just kind of quitting on ourselves, quitting on what we're trying to do. And, it can happen fast. Like, say you're having a YouTube growth as your goal as well. One video could go viral, but you don't want to hang your entire strategy on that. But, you could be one video being the difference between your channel being monetized or you reaching 1,000 subscribers or not. You could be one newsletter away from a client being like, oh my gosh, I want to work with you. This is the one. You could be one exercise session away from it becoming a habit and you going to the gym day in, day out, or, however many times a week, and you just being a sporadic exerciser. Recently, I started back at the gym. I used to be very, very fit. And now the joke around my house. So my kids, they're in primary school and they have 2 sports days a week. One is like sport where they do netball, football, basketball, something like that as a class. And the other day they do fitness. And the joke in my household is like, I'm into fitness, whole pizza in my mouth. My kids are so sick of hearing this. Like, as soon as they start to tell me about fitness, one of them starts to cringe. And I was like, no, I'm into fitness. I'm going back to the gym. And they're like, wait, what? You're serious? There's no jokes about pizza or chocolate blocks or meat pies? I'm like, no, going back into my routine. So starting back with water aerobics and yoga, like gentle classes, easing my way in before I, move my way up to the more, so say, demanding, grueling, however you want to look at it, classes. But all this to say, timeline. You can have, based on past performances, I will do these classes for this many weeks, and then I'll increase my intensity, or I'll increase my duration, or I'll increase my number of classes. But sometimes the timeline isn't what we think. We could have injury, we could have sickness, we could have the body is just not up to doing things the way that the body used to. And having that level of kindness and compassion with ourselves in whatever it is that we're doing. And I know that it can sound trite, and I know that some of you might be having the nascent eye roll, like, I've just got to love myself more. Thanks, Suzanne. Great. Yes. Tell me something I don't know. But how sometimes we are our own harshest critic or our own worst bully when things aren't happening fast enough, when the timeline in our head isn't keeping pace with the timeline that's the actuality. And then we just give up, or we quit, or we look for the next bright, shiny object. I don't know about you, but I've never met a bright, shiny object I didn't like. So what I want you to consider, what I want you to think about today is remembering that, learning, healing, growing, it has its own timeline. It's happening in the background, whether or not we see it. And I'm reminded of this meme, it's a few years ago, but basically there was these 2 farmers growing carrots, and one, you can see all the stuff above the surface, and the farmer there is kind of leaning on his pitchfork, smiling, going, look at my crop. But underneath the surface, the carrots were tiny. You just like have one bite. It wouldn't be very satisfying. And this other farmer who's what you can see above the surface isn't much at all, but his carrots are growing really, really deep. So that could be you. You could feel like you're putting in all this effort, but other people are doing so much better than you on the surface. Their businesses, their number of followers, their likes, their comments, their vanity stats are looking incredible. But underneath the surface is not much happening. You really can't, what's the saying? You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a business by its cover either. You can see businesses that have the most amazing websites, the most incredible engagement, likes, followers. It doesn't mean that they have any clients. And it's not a competition. It's about, staying in your own lane and going on your own journey. And sometimes when things aren't happening fast enough, we can fall into, what is the next thing that I need to do? The next bright, shiny object, the next thing I need to double down on. Like, it wasn't this, and then it's that. And we abandon what it is that we were doing. And back to the carrot analogy, if you have planted yourself a field of carrots and you suddenly stop watering them and weeding them and tending to them, then it is likely that they will potentially just die out or end up overgrown or have, I was going to say raccoons. I don't know why we don't have raccoons in Australia. I don't even know if raccoons eat carrots, but some kind of vermin coming and destroying your crop because you're not tending to it. The grass is always greener on the other side because the person on the other side is looking after it. So my encouragement for you today is, wherever you are, whatever your goal is, starting a business, writing a book, launching a podcast, releasing some weight, getting fitter, getting a new job, whatever. We all have something that we're working towards. And we all have moments where invariably we want to throw in the towel. And I remember hearing once, if you throw in the towel, I'll wipe my sweat with it. And I was like, that is so gross. But imagine if you were like, yeah, I'm not going to throw in the towel. It's happening on its own timeline. Would I like it to be faster? 100%. But am I committed to staying and taking these small baby steps and chipping away and trusting that what's going on underneath the surface is happening, even if I can't yet see it? Imagine how much differently you would feel about the progress you were making if you had that attitude, that trust in the process and the timeline, and knowing that things are indeed happening, even if you can't yet see it, rather than that frustration and hurry, scurry, hustle and bustle of, we're going to try the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and then just overwhelming yourself. It really gives me the hamster wheel vibes. Like, you're running and you're running and you're running, but you're running on the spot. So I hope that's been helpful. A couple of reminders. Please vote for me in the coaching category, the Women's in Podcasting Awards. The link is in the show notes or the description, depending on when you're catching this. And recorded coaching sessions, if you would like one, there is an application form. I pretty much accept everyone. The reason I have an application form is I don't like having people having direct access to my calendar. It's a boundaries thing for me. And I'm a boundary coach, and you teach what you most need to learn so you can learn it. So if you fill that form in, you'd like to be coached, and we can get together, record it on Zoom, upload it on YouTube. Love to have a chat to you. If that's not your thing, but you want to listen to the others, go to the YouTube channel, recorded coaching sessions playlist. As I said, there's around 8 there at the time of recording this, and there'll be more soon. Thanks for catching this one. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.